This week on Streamers Do the Dumbest Things, a bunch of degenerate weirdo creeps decide to go to Nepal and get arrested for violence against children. So I'm going to have to give some backstory on Nepal and why what they did is so serious, because to the West it might not look that serious. And I'll also give some backstory on these people because they're kind of like smaller streamers, but they're part of like the CX gang, or they're trying to like get into that, if you know what that is, the whole like Ice Poseidon stuff. The short of it is they're a bunch of creepy weirdo dudes who are essentially like sex pats who take advantage of like every woman they see, or at least try to. But first, let's start off with Nepal. So I'll be honest, I had no idea where Nepal was. I thought it was like a province or like a territory or whatever of India. I was wrong. Apparently it's its own country, but it is like right beside India. So I was like, kind of right, like any education for the wind. But in 2015, they had a massive earthquake, which displaced a lot of people, and then COVID hit, which was harder on all those people as well. And so like a bunch of people are like a lot poorer than they normally are in a poor country. And the reason why that matters is because that like very poor families or very poor people are more likely to be human trafficked. Now in Nepal, a lot of human traffickers will just take people from Nepal, send them to like India or UAE or wherever, just for cheap labor. But then, of course, there is like sex trafficking. And 17% of workers in the adult entertainment sector are minors, and 62% of other adult women in that industry started their work as minors, some as young as 7 years old. So you heard that these streamers got charged with violence against children, so I think you can piece together where this story is going. However, common tactics used by traffickers include promises of work, opportunities, marriage, and other good fortunes available abroad, which is usually enough to convince the women or their families that opportunities outside of the country are better than prospects at home. So essentially, you go to a poor country, find the poorest people, and then promise them wealth or marriage or just a better life abroad, take them from the country, and then traffic them into like labor or sex work or whatever you want. So Nepal has been doing everything they can to try to stomp that out and lower the rates again. So they are going super strict on their laws around that stuff. So like just like whistling at someone, like doing like a cat call, like you can get imprisoned up to 3 years. Now I doubt just whistling at someone is going to get you 3 years in prison, but like just the fact that that's like a possibility shows how much they're like trying to stop this. So now you got some backstory in Nepal. What you need to know about these people, they're Suspendas and SlightlyHomeless. They're kick streamers, super creepy dudes who try to abuse women at like every chance they get, it seems like, or take advantage of women at the least. Decided to travel to Nepal with Ice Poseidon. Now, Suspendas got famous recently for just being a massive creep. This is him on top of a blackout drunk woman. I believe this was somewhere in like Southeast Asia, I think like in Japan, maybe Korea.
Too sexy.
Now before the friend was in the room, the girl was like pushing him off him, telling him to get away from her. She's not interested. So the friend holding the camera leaves the room, comes back to him making out with like a blackout drunk girl. And unfortunately for the girl, the friend comes back and sees this, doesn't do anything, and he just leaves the room and lets Suspendas do whatever. Also, Suspendas hired a hooker who brought her child with her, and then he closes the door, the lights turn off, and then very obvious sex sounds can be heard on stream. So he had sex in front of like a very small child, which is also kind of weird and creepy. And now to get on to SlightlyHomeless. You got this clip the day before he gets arrested in Nepal.
You talk to girls that look like 15 all
Yeah,
day
you do
long.
that every...
Bro, it's on live stream. Everyone can watch it.
There's no clips of me talking to underage. A few of them. I say, and I always have to age very quickly.
You had to really change what you said there, huh?
Yeah, imagine going, I've never talked to like an underage girl. Well, there's a few, well, I always ask their age. Like, you have to backpedal that fast saying you never hit on like underage girls. And like, you know, you're in a really bad spot in a fight when you're losing to Sam Pepper about morality. Because if you don't know about Sam Pepper, you can pause the video here and read this. But he got canceled for very similar things. This one is like actual sexual assault and not just like flirting with someone. But yeah, the other clip that could have got them in trouble was this one.
Smells good.
I like you.
So he's in a stand with a daughter and father.
Yeah. Is this your daughter?
Yes.
Your
I
daughter?
know, yes.
Can I marry?
Oh, how possible?
You want to get married? No? Okay, I'm
No,
sorry.
she's not ready now.
She's not ready? Okay.
So like just a weird and strange thing to do, just going up to like a random chick and asking them to marry her, especially when she's clearly underage. But yeah, so like in the West, that's creepy and weird to do, but like you just be like kind of laughed off and told to get lost. But like I said before, in Nepal, human trafficking problem, that's a common tactic to marry the woman, to take her out of the country, and then to sex traffic her. Police don't like when you joke about that stuff. So these clips started getting spread around, and like this has been going on for a couple of days of them going around and obviously hitting on underage girls and just being like total creeps in general. There was another clip of them like dry humping the air with like a young child, like maybe 10 years old, who was out on like a day trip with her grandmother for some reason. So obviously the people in Nepal didn't take this lightly, and all of these clips were going around online and they were getting posted to Nepal's Reddit, and a bunch of people on the Reddit were saying like, we're sending these to the cops. Hopefully the cops do something. Turns out the cops did do something. So this is like a day later after the whole marriage proposal.
No problem? Hello.
Sir, please close that.
Close it?
Please, just a minute.
Okay.
Please
So you
close.
can see the police come into frame for a couple seconds. He's asking them to close down like all his cameras and stuff because they don't want to do this on stream. But eventually they do close down the stream, and they get arrested and they get brought to the Nepal prison. Now, some word of advice for anybody who is traveling anywhere in the world. Maybe just do like the most like little bit of research about the country you're going to, and like also maybe just don't be creeps in general. Like that's just good advice for everybody. Like don't hit on every woman you see, especially when they look young. But you can go to the site of any country and it gives you a list of everything. It tells you if you should be worried about anything, everything you need to do before you go, what you can do when you're there, and it tells you of the local laws and special circumstances. So once you get arrested in Nepal, if you're arrested in Nepal, the authorities may keep you in detention for weeks or even longer during the investigation stage. You can be essentially held in prison indefinitely while they do their investigation, however long that takes. So this was also streamed. When they got into prison, they got charged with violence against minors or whatever, or violence against children. That holds a sentence up to 10 years. They may get charged for more things because cops are going through all of these clips. Now, we don't know if they got arrested for these clips per se. There has been like some talk that they got arrested for something off stream because there's apparently a witness who called in to report these people. But we did see them talking to an embassy agent. They started talking to this US agent saying like, oh, like, we need to talk to the press. We need to like explain our side, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't think you understand like how serious this is. And going to the press in Nepal is not a good idea. It's not good in this culture. They'll just find it offensive, blah, blah, blah. And she was essentially just like reading the riot act. It was like honestly pretty boring, but just saying like, yeah, you're actually in like real trouble. Like you should lawyer up. Like I think they had like lawyers available to them, like American lawyers that can help them. But essentially, like best case scenario for them is they get deported immediately. That's like best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they can get 10 years of prison in Nepal. And prison in Nepal is rough. You can get sent to work camps, like the good old like breaking rocks kind of stuff. And if I'm being honest, I hope that they see prison time. Because like we've already seen them like break laws, like sexually assault women on stream. Like if they're doing that on stream, I can only imagine what these creep like psychos are doing off stream to women who are drunk, who they always seem to have around them and who they always seem to prey on. So like if they get sent to a Nepal prison, like to me, that's just karma finally catching up to them. And like I can only imagine what is going to be revealed with like this Nepal case. Like I don't even think I want to know what they ended up doing. Hopefully it's just the stuff we saw in the clips and where it was just like this weird cringy like asking women to marry them and hitting on like underage girls, and hopefully nothing worse happened. And like the last thing, like what I really don't understand is like we've seen Suspendus is willing to sleep with prostitutes. So why not just make it like stream goals? Like I get this amount of subs or whatever, and I'll sleep with like this prostitute. Like you could go to like there's a bunch of countries that have legal prostitution, and you can just make that your content. Like I don't know, like I don't understand these creepy weirdos who are like, I'm going to like being a creepy weirdo is one thing, but thinking it's a smart idea to stream and record you breaking laws, like how stupid you have to be, like how desperate you have to be. Like I guess it's a good thing I don't understand them because if I could understand their mindset and where they're coming from, like I don't know what that would say about me. Like it just blows my mind.